When people say, I'm looking to invest in a car, red flag now, wait, wrong move, invest, bad word. You don't invest in a car. A car is a depreciating asset. Ideal way is to buy a car that's a year or two old. As soon as you turn that key, you've dropped 20%.
The electronic cars right now, what can you say about that?
Obviously, this is taking over. My personal views on it is all of these very, very destructive things to the environment.
This is Money Masters, where true stories spark real change.
Chinkee Tan, with over 6 million Facebook followers, 2.8 million YouTube subscribers, and 2.4 million TikTok fans, is now all out to share with you the most practical, simplest path to lasting wealth.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, get ready to meet one of the most recognizable faces in the Philippine media. He's a journalist, TV and radio host, content creator, and car enthusiast. A grabbing reputation is about speaking his mind and keeping it real, whether it's traffic, politics, lifestyle. Honestly, you know what? I consider him as a truth teller. Okay, no holds barred though. Let us welcome Mr. James Deakin.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been a dream since when? The pandemic?
Yeah, the pandemic. Yeah, that was the last time that we spoke.
Yes.
Okay, James, let's talk about, you built a reputation for being straightforward, whether it's on TV, radio, online. How did you develop that voice? And again, you are one of the most trusted voices right now in the industry.
Well, firstly, thank you for that, Chinkee. How did I develop it? I I started first writing about cars, so it didn't feel so hard then to be honest about an object. You're nothing personal then.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a machine. So I was an enthusiast talking to other enthusiasts, and then you were giving the good, the bad, and the ugly about something, because underneath all of that was still a passion and love for what you're talking about. So if you have to break a few eggs to make the omelet, okay lan, because you're coming from a good place.
Yeah.
So I guess that built the muscle of being authentic and honest about a topic. And so when it became, but it's a very niche topic,
Yeah.
topic, right? So that was my foundation. I was doing that for the C magazine. And then I started talking about like topics on the road, because I realized that safety.
Yeah.
Because I soon realized, I was like looking at this audience going, this is great, but this is a very small, you're preaching to a very small choir, right? And if you start talking about things that are a bit broader, for example, not everyone is a car enthusiast, but every single one of us is a road user.
Exactly.
So this now broadens it. So if you're not talking about the horsepower and the features of the car, but now you're talking about the traffic, the rules, the regulations that need to be followed, all of a sudden you got the interest now of the mothers, the lolas, the daughters, people who would traditionally not listen to you. So I just applied the same philosophy, the same strategy to it. Be authentic, be yourself, speak from the heart, because you can't really go wrong from there. That was just my mindset back then, because I had nothing to lose. Maybe it was born from ignorance. Maybe if I knew what I knew now about social media, maybe I wouldn't have taken that approach.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful that my ignorance kind of played out, because I was naive.
Yeah.
I was just being very honest, and people bit into it.
Yeah.
So then later on, when the issues became bigger, you'd built up some kind of equity already with your audience.
Yeah.
And it started to,
Yeah. Talking about, being you as a truth teller right now in a world that's full of clickbait, false reports, or probably fake news. How do you balance honesty with keeping people engaged, for not only for the views and the click? Paano mo ginagawa?
Okay, firstly, you have to separate that. Don't think of the views and the clicks. So that's, you got to think, that's hard, because we live in an area or a space that the metric is solely clicks and numbers, etc. But you got to take that out of your mindset, because if you remove yourself from the outcome, if you try to at least divorce yourself from that, then you can focus on being authentic. If you are hooked on the outcome, if you have some kind of dependency on that outcome, you're going to manipulate your content to try to get there. So the first thing is remove that.
Okay.
Whether this gets 1 like or 1,000 likes or 1 million likes, it's not the point.
Yes.
The point is, you need to put out this piece of honest content out there and just let it sit. Now, the trade-off that sometimes you will only get 100 likes, 10 likes, 50 likes, whatever it is, but it doesn't matter, because it's a slow burn.
Yeah.
It's the same as, I look at it always like a nutritionally balanced meal versus fast food. The fast food's going to get you immediately, hit the dopamine receptors. You're going to feel full straight away. You're going to feel happy, but then you get the crash straight after. It's empty calories. Whereas if you go for the slow burn, you go for the good nutritional value meals, yes, it's not going to give you that hit, but it's going to sustain you. And over the long term, we know it has benefits. Same thing with information, because it's food for your mind.
Yeah.
So you're looking at the person going, okay, I don't necessarily, to answer your question more specifically, it's not that they go, okay, ang bilis ni James mag-ano sa, he posted this about this issue, he's writing every issue, versus they're the ones asking you, James, what do you think of this issue? It's the value on what your opinion is, not whether you're first, not whether you're popular. It's just, we want to know what you have to say about it. You build into that stage where people care about your opinion because they know that you've thought it through.
Guys, grabe to. Priceless to. Pakinggan nyo to maputi. Especially if you are a content creator. I'm guilty of that. Let's be honest. I'm guilty of
We all are. I fall into the trap sometimes.
Yeah. So, iba yung iba yung nakikiride ka lang. Ang tawag namin dyan, viral jacking.
I've never heard that. That's
Yeah,
cool.
it's
But it makes sense.
Yeah, di ba? Yung parang carjack, di ba? Viral jack. Iba yung naghihintay yung tao dahil sa sobrang honest ka, sobrang authentic ka, at naging authority ka. Again, hindi madali yan. It takes time. And then people are just waiting for what you have to say. And I say, ikaw na. Kaya nga, alam mo, that was my realization just only the past few days. And I have to really, I've been in content creation for over 18 years already.
Wow.
I started the day when YouTube started.
Wow.
So,
Look, you got your silver and gold.
yeah, but the point is, I started with the right, probably, intention to reach out to the OFWs because they cannot come to my seminar and then listen. And even if they want to, but they cannot. So that's the reason why I started the channel. Again, during the time, there was no monetization.
Yes.
Nothing.
I understand. Yeah.
But right now, because of the monetization thing, you have the tendency to...
It's the algorithm
Yeah.
that is basically driving you and driving the content creation. And this is what I wanted to avoid. If I may just share this little insight,
Go.
because this directly answers your question about maybe where my mindset comes from, because I also went through my journey. So don't think I'm trying to paint myself out to be this is how I always was. I had this idea, but I've made my mistakes, ups and downs. I've fallen the same way, gotten for the maybe I should go down this avenue to get more likes, more shares, etc. And it's easy to fall into that trap. So around about 2020, just before the pandemic lockdown hit, I was peaking in my
Yeah, I was following it. I've been telling you guys you're doing a great job.
yes.
And then you've been giving away stuff.
Yes, and I was peaking in terms of like viewership and following, and engagement was crazy. It was really, I was doing almost 100 million a month at that point, just in total reach, of course. And it's addicting because there's a monetary value to that. Not just what they pay, the platform pays you, but what advertisers are paying you, and so you get caught up in this and you protect it. So you're very my voice, you start to strangle yourself. You start to curate your words and stuff because you're trying to imagine what their sponsors will feel, so you're starting to lose it, right?
Exactly.
Then I get to 2020 and I got to the point where the realization was I was doing well financially, the best I'd ever done in my life. And I looked back and I thought the penny that dropped was, you're doing so well financially, you're at the best you've ever done, but can you call yourself wealthy if you can't even afford your own voice?
Wow.
That hit me like a ton of bricks, because it really, boom, because I remember being trapped and I couldn't say this, I couldn't say that, because I had so many sponsors that were like, wag mo banggain yan, wag mo, don't go there. I'm like, but I need to talk about these things. Yes, but there's some political angle to it. I'm not into the politics. I'm into solving. Yes, but would rather you. So they were shaping my voice.
Exactly.
The algorithm can shape your voice because there's a reward system attached to it.
Wow.
So then you start to become like that, the grinding monkey, or the monkey grinder, that they wind up and you'll just do whatever they tell you to do because that's how the algorithm is designed. And this is how I think artificial intelligence has flipped the script. It's like we first trained it, now it's training us.
Exactly.
And so I remember feeling because I had a lot of time to think in the pandemic. Wow, this hit me like a ton of bricks. Then that's when I doubled down on, look, your authenticity is what counts. Scarcity. In the world where there's a lot of noise, where's the value? Scarcity. Anytime there's an abundance of anything, look for scarcity. We're talking about your art this morning, right? When we walked in. That's the basic principle, scarcity. There's so much noise out there. How are you going to break through that noise? You do something different. You do something authentic, something that nobody can duplicate or replicate. It may not be the fastest way there because, like we talked about, the hits, the likes, the shares may not be there, but you're developing something deeper. You're setting a foundation for yourself. And that's when I said to myself, I don't mind where this ends up financially, so long as I have full sovereignty of my entire being and my voice.
Yeah. Guys, this is a master class on its own. Uh, Again, marami tayong lessons na mapupulot dito. Let's talk about number one, yung pursuit of in life. Lahat naman tayo gusto natin umunlad at umasenso. But what James right now is reminding all of us, lahat ng mga nakikinig nanonood dito, is this. Be careful of what you become in what you pursuit of in life. Mag-ingat ka. Anong maging pagkatao mo sa hinahangad mo sa buhay? Di ba? Again, is it bringing out the best in you or the worst in you? Is it fulfilling your calling and your purpose in life? Or you're just doing it because it's popular, it's what other people like? Yun nga, yung parang nawawala na yung pagkatao mo. Gets mo? Kung ikaw, nasa company ka right now, and then, yun nga, you're trying to do things just to please your boss, just to please, you're a friend, probably, you're just trying to be funny, just to fit in, just to be accepted. Pero nawawala yung authentic you mo eh. Kung ikaw yun ngayon, and you're resonating with this message right now, I want you to type me in the comment section. And this is an eye-opener, guys. Not only for you, for me, and it's a good reminder for all of us.
Negosyong pangmatagalan at kumikitang pangkabuhayan ba ang gusto mo? Mag-franchise na sa Rigasco.
Okay, so right now, the next question is, we're just starting, grabe.
Yeah, we went straight deep.
What drives you to keep on speaking up even it challenge the status quo? Again, I do believe you mentioned it a little bit already, but there's a deep conviction. Where's that conviction coming from?
Well, again, it goes back to the scarcity. I think there was a lack of it out there at the time when I started talking about it. We talked about the clicks and all that, and people focus a lot on how to grow their channel, or they always focus on the how to. Go back to the why. The why is the most important because that's what grounds you. Why are you doing this in the first place?
Galing.
Yeah, always go back to your why. And then, so sometimes you can lose sight of things because we're being distracted all the time. We live in an attention economy. And right now, this is the most valuable commodity out there, more valuable than gold, oil, and even data, because data requires attention in order to get it. So there's always these demands on our attention. Go back to your why. What is my why? I wanted to create safer roads for every Filipino road user. That's my why. So if I get a little confused, I go back to that. Does this help promote a safer and road user experience for every Filipino? Does it or does it not? If it doesn't, don't do it. If it does, pursue it. And this is why missions and visions are so important, because it keeps you grounded, because we always get to a point where somebody's trying to take your attention away, drag you to this side, drag you to that side. You have to be convicted in it.
Guys, alam mo, sobra akong I'm so overwhelmed, honestly. Iba talaga pag matalinong kausap mo tumatalino ka eh. No, what James is telling you and I right now is this. Lahat tayo gusto natin yung big house, big car, 'di ba? Probably travel, riches. Alam mo, if you want to have that, you go back to your why. Because if you know the why part of your life, the how part, yung paano, will take care of itself.
Correct. It follows.
Yeah. So right now, guys, if you are currently lost, you started with a good intention, pero right now you're burnout, you're not happy, you're stressed at what you're doing, you go back to the original reason why you started at the first place. Bakit ka ba nagtrabaho at the first place? Bakit ka ba nag-iipon at the first place? For my, what I'm doing right now, the real why I did this program and everything, the brand called Iponario. I teach people on how to save money, like this thing about saving money. It's because I see one day, bawat Filipino maging Iponario. Every Filipino will become a responsible money manager and a saver. I just need to go back to the why. Again, it's not about the views, the clip.
Yes.
Man, grabe to. Ay nako, mag-take notes kayo ngayon, ha? So right now, let's talk about something else. One thing you're passionate about cars. And whether we like it or not, cars are one of the most biggest investment, financial decision that you're going to make aside from your house.
Correct.
So can you please teach us again about how to purchase a car? When is the right time to purchase a car? What is the right car for a person to drive?
Well, I first like to start with the correct framing of it, because when people say, I'm looking to invest in a car, red flag now, wait, wrong move, invest, bad word. You don't invest in a car. A car is a depreciating asset. Okay, call it what it is first. Admit it for yourself. Now, if you want to spend on that, that's up to you. If you work hard and that gives you joy and it fulfills a passion, by all means, but keep it within that framing. When you try to say, I'm trying to get this car at this price so I could sell it at that price, you're playing with fire, because again, unless you're into classics, collectibles, you know your stuff, it's a depreciating asset. So I like to frame it for people like that first, because then that's the way we don't get caught up in this idea that in the Philippines, because we look at it still as some kind of an asset that we hand down to our kids, or that we can. Whereas if we looked at it as just a fixed cost for mobility, then that way it just makes it allows it, it's a little bit easier to understand. So with that out of the way, the disclaimer out of the way, the most ideal way is to buy a car that's a year or two old. Buying new is obviously not the smartest thing to do from if you're trying to save money.
Oy guys, pakinggan nyo tong part na ito. Controversial to.
It is a little controversial.
Yeah, sinasabi ni James is buy a pre-loved and a pre-owned car. Why?
I'm saying that as soon as you turn that key, you've dropped 20%, right?
Yeah.
Some
More.
Some cars are more. There's some European cars that'll take 30, 40, 50%.
Yeah.
It's really bad just for turning the key. So you got to determine, and I'm not here to tell you what to do, because that's your life, but you have to place a value on how much is that worth to you. Is being the first owner on that ORCR, is being the first person to drive and put few kilometers on it, is that worth 20, 30, 40, 50%? It's personal. Might be. You might be this guy, ah.
Hindi, kasi yun nga, going back, kasi nga, yung status symbol brand new to.
Brand new. There's some value. I'm not going to paint that out to be, okay, that's just never consider that option, because if you're buying from a company's point of view, just go new na lang.
Yeah.
The financing, there are other perks involved in getting it new, other ways that you can offset that. I'm talking to the private buyer.
Private owners, yeah.
Okay, and the private buyer that's trying to be prudent. Because if you see value in it, who am I to say? Again, you might, for example, I'll be a hypocrite. I got a Land Cruiser, a new one, right? That I'm going against my own advice.
But did you buy it in cash or did you buy it in installment?
I got it straight out. Obviously, I got finance, but not from the dealership, etc. But that was I bought that straight out, right? So I was thinking to myself, that goes against my own advice that I'm giving you right now.
Yeah.
The difference with that, and there are always slight exceptions to the rule. One, you can't put a price on I was 50 when I got it. That was my present to myself. Okay? You're 50 years old. You work very hard. You've never spoiled yourself with anything like that. This is going to be that.
Okay.
But this is going to be your lifetime vehicle. This is lifetime, not Chinkee. We're not trading this in 2-3 years, right?
Okay.
And there are not many cars you can say you can do that with.
Yeah.
A Land Cruiser is one of the very few cars that you can say in 20 years' time,
Durable pa rin siya eh.
hindi lang durable. Have you seen a 20-year-old Land Cruiser for sale?
Yeah. I no.
They sell more than they sold new.
Yeah. But it's still, I will say, yun nga, it lasts through time.
You can pick up a Land Cruiser 80 series now in good shape. You'll pay $3 million for it. They were 1.8 when they were sold new in this country.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. But that's an anomaly. It's an anomaly. This is why you have to know kind of what the market is. And Land Cruisers are one of the very few cars that's off the shelf that you can do that with. Because over time, that retains its value. But that is few and far between. There are not many models that like that. Maybe a 911.
Yeah.
Certain Porsches will do that. Certain older Mercedes would do that. But new cars, it's hard to find something that will retain its value.
Yeah.
So that's why I broke my own rule. There are always exceptions to every rule.
Yeah.
And I'm just being very honest and forthright with it because there are always little exceptions. There's no clear hard rule. You do this, you do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Then also, how do I assign value to your sentimental, to your nostalgia? Those are things only you can place a value on.
Yeah.
And it was important for me that I saw myself having this car for 25 years or more, handing this down to my children. And yes, I wanted to be the first owner.
Yeah.
So I made that conscious decision that I weighed it out. But that's the difference. I weighed it out. I was aware of that.
Pinag-isipan mo.
Pinag-isipan mo. Don't go in without thinking about these things. Now, if I was going to buy just a regular car that you can, the supply and demand is just, it's then no, you can't do the same thing with it.
Yeah. Permission lang to cut you on this and help me to process this with, again, you can cut in anytime. Let's pick up some good lessons. Number 1, car is a depreciating value. Yes. Okay, bumababa ang presyo by almost 10%, 20% at first and then 10% every year. So pag bumili ka ng sasakyan na worth 2 million, after 5 years, 1 million or less. That's the reality. That's number 1. Number 2, it's just like when you mention about investment, it's just like a house. Ay, may investment na ako. Oh, really? Saan ka nakatira? Doon. Well, sad to say, the house that you first purchased is not an investment. When you say investment, it's something that is purchased with an intent to profit or retail at a higher price. It's bringing you income. The question is, the house that you're living in right now, tinitiran mo, may upa ka ba? Kumikita ka ba? Hindi, ikaw nakatira eh. So it's not an investment, it's a liability. It's an asset, but it's not earning. Yes, it's yielding you probably appreciation in terms of capital appreciation. However, if you're not selling it, it's not earning. However, yung sa car naman, what if naman you use it for a business? TNVS mo.
Iba na yan.
Yeah, that's called already an investment. Pero sinasabi ni James kanina, it's personal use. And second, FYI, alam mo, bilib na bilib talaga ako kay James. No? I mean, hindi kami nag-uusap tungkol dito. Pero, I really also encourage people, especially first-time buyer. The best car that you can afford is a car that you can afford in cash.
Oh, yeah.
Bakit? Several reasons. Aside from depreciating, imagine mo, ang sasakyan, 1 million, sample. Pagka tinerm mo siya, in 5 years, magiging 1.4. So, 400,000 more.
Correct.
My question to you right now, ikaw na nakikinig, nanonood ngayon, kung bebentahan kita ng sasakyan, ang real value is 1 million, bebenta ko sa yung 1.4, bibili mo ba?
Hindi.
Well, pag inutang mo yan, ay ginaya mo.
Can I just say, add one thing? Because everything you said made total sense. But remember when you said the car, 2 million in 5 years is 1 million?
Oh.
That's correct.
Yeah.
But that 1 million is not worth 1 million anymore because in
Exactly.
5 years, the inflation,
Yeah.
that 1 million buys about
800,000.
correct. So you have to factor in that too. And this is what's so confusing.
Pinasakit pa nito, pinalalim pa eh.
Oo, pinalalim pa kasi ganun talaga. You know what? This opens up a whole new topic about like money because I went into a deep dive in money after we, during the pandemic. Remember, we talked a little bit about it. And I remember you got me thinking about this. I said, I really need to understand money a lot more at my age. You know, I was naive to it. I was like most people. I just thought this is how it, I earn. I put it in the bank. I buy some property if I can afford it. I buy some assets. And that's it. I didn't understand anything more than that. But then as you were talking to me about it and you started putting some framework in my head. So I'm thinking, he's right. So I started deep diving. And the sad thing about money now is you don't just have to be an expert in how to earn it. That's already challenging enough. You do entire shows about how to do that. That's already a monumental task for people. You now have to do two things. Learn how to make it, learn how to keep it.
Yeah.
You have to be an expert in both. Because you can make it, but you put that in the money in the bank, and in 5 years' time, that money is now worth less than what you had. And you're like, no, it's still the same. It's still 1 million. Yes, it's 1 million with
Remember.
power of 750 or 800.
Yeah.
But I got interest 2%. Yes, but inflation was 6 or 7%. So you have to factor these in. So now, imagine the poor, kawawa naman yung, not just Filipino, this is worldwide. You have to now be a hustler in both. So you got to be also now an expert in investment, in how to keep it, accounting. Just
Amazing.
amazing talaga.
Grabe, lalo pa niya pinahirapan 'tong pinag-uusapan natin. Hindi, learn how to earn it is a challenge already. Learn how to manage and keep it is another challenge. The next challenge is learn how to grow it
Mm-hmm.
in terms of investment and business. Meron pa isa.
Oo. It's 3.
Alam mo, meron pa isa, number 4. It took you a lifetime to earn the money. It took you a lot of time for you to save the money. But it only takes you one bad decision to lose all of your hard-earned money. So, you earn, you keep, you manage, you grow, but you have to protect. If you don't know how to protect your hard-earned money, just like buying a car without an insurance is crazy. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Especially here in the Philippines, typhoons, flood, and then
yeah.
carnapping or yung mga yun, di ba? It's parang crazy. Ito yung weird part. Yung sasakyan, minsan naka-insure. Pero yung driver, hindi.
Hindi nga. That's so true.
Di ba? Guys, ito lang based on the information that you're receiving right now sa sasakyan pa lang, paki-type na lang sa comment section, ano na yung mga nare-realize mo. And I'm always kidding around. You know what? Yung first car mo, alam mo, mas maganda kung anong afford mo, bilhin mo kahit na second hand ka or pre-love siya. Alam mo bakit maganda? Number 1, wala kang babayaran monthly. Number 2, hindi ka mai-stress. 'Di ba? Wala kang charges. At number 3, depreciated na, 'di ba? Did you know we just purchased around 5 years ago a Honda Jazz at 200 plus thousand. And after right now, it's still okay. If I want to resell it, it's still at a good price of 200.
Because somebody already absorbed.
Exactly.
Yes.
And ang apat, alam mo, best benefit, pagka pre-love ang sasakyan mo, first time owner ka, kung magasgas, hindi masakit.
Oo.
Sanay na.
As they say, the first cut is the deepest.
Grabe, di ba?
Pag yung first scratch mo, I have one on my LC na, and I'm like,
How many months?
nobody can see it except me.
Yeah, how
'Cause
many
I
months?
feel the scratches in my soul.
Yeah, grabe, di ba? Yung gate na walang kalaban-laban, binangga mo, dahil hindi siya umiwas, nakakainis. So right now, ito, one very interesting topic about cars right now. Let's talk about EV, electronic cars right now. What can you say about that?
Obviously, this is taking over. My personal views on it is I have no issue with EVs. I like them actually, but I do have a little bit of a problem, if I'm honest, in the way they're framed. I don't like the way they tend to say this is the best thing you can do for the environment. This is how we save the earth. Go green. Everything is branded na. It's like, wait, teka muna. Let's just be reasonable, okay? There are advantages, and I think you can sell the car on those advantages. You don't need to create a narrative that's not necessarily can be backed up. Because when you talk about environmentally friendly, you're talking about no tailpipe emissions. You're not talking about the entire process, right? You're not talking about the lithium mining, the cobalt mining, all of these very, very destructive things to the environment.
And not only that, where can you dispose the batteries?
working the disposed batteries. There's also the human cost. I mean, because these things are mined usually in Africa, China, where human rights are not observed. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, let's not go for the virtue.
Yeah.
Let's not try to sell it on virtue alone, because I think the industry has created a narrative that is not entirely accurate. And I think they're playing on a lot of our guilt.
Yeah.
And I don't think they need to. So that's why I get a little frustrated, is because, look, I like it. I think you can sell it even without going down that path. I think you can make a case for it. For example, the pollution, overall footprint of the car, I don't think that there are really any advantages over a gas car. Once you factor in everything.
Yeah.
This is Toyota have the right mindset.
Yeah.
See, they're like, in fact, Toyota was one company that had every right to claim dominance over
Yeah.
that market, because they had the monopoly on it, Prius, since 1998.
Yeah.
They've been doing hybrids well before people understood what it was. So they're the leaders. Why didn't they lead in EV?
Why?
Because they don't believe in that technology alone. They believe it's a basket of solutions. They believe in the entire process. They have to work from their manufacturing plant all the way to the road. That whole journey needs to be a net zero, or some kind of, they have to show that that journey will reach their goals, not just what comes out of the tailpipe. But that's what the industry focuses on now, what comes out of that tailpipe. There's no tailpipe, therefore you're good. No. But having said that, see, you can still frame it in a way where you can say the EVs might not, they'll take a while for it to catch up or to be environmentally friendly over the period of the entire lifespan. But for now, I see a value in crowded cities, no pollution, because that is localized pollution, right? So that helps in a crowded city. You can kind of pick where you put spread it out. Noise pollution, I think we can tremendously benefit from that.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of noise pollution out there from engines and stuff. And then there's the anxiety that it causes and all that kind of
And
jazz.
how about in terms of fuel consumption, at the same time, it's much more affordable.
Okay, they're starting to make a case for that now, where they can really make a case where it's starting to become equal or more affordable. Especially when you start to work in the regular servicing, it takes a lot less servicing to service an EV versus an ICE. So there are advantages to that. I agree with that. And those can only get better. But the last part that worries me, and you might call me a conspiracy theorist, you might think I'm crazy.
Wait for the truth.
But yes, I gotta say it, is I worry about control. Control, because when we went through pandemic, I saw the world change in a way that it was kind of dark. The way they control everybody through QR codes and contact tracing and all that. And then we've seen the spillover now.
Yeah, the after effect. I must say,
After effect.
our data are being used by scammers.
Absolutely. We're already wired into this whole thing. Now we can't get out of it, right? So you're taking this another level up. This, they can shut you off remotely
Anytime.
anytime. Now, I know this firsthand because I was in the United States just recently, and I borrowed a Tesla. I had a Tesla for about 2 weeks there. And at one stage, I had gone over by like a few minutes on the supercharger. They're very strict there. You cannot go over the time allotted in the supercharger. Dito, medyo
Okay lang.
walang disiplina. You see cars parked there for 8 hours, 6 hours in the mall, naka-plug in. That's been charged already, but they don't move it. But during the States, they're very strict. What worried me, and not the rule, I think the rule is fine, but what worried me is as soon as I went a little bit over, they penalized me. They wouldn't allow me to charge for, I think, 24 hours. I
Wow.
was like, wait, hang on a second. If they can do this, what's stopping them from saying, hey, we didn't like your post. You said bad things about the government. You said bad things about this person or that person. We are therefore restricting you. Or we have a crisis in your area. You know, they love to manufacture crises.
And they shut down your car.
They geofence your car. You say, Chinkee, okay, remember pandemic, we weren't allowed to move,
Yeah.
right? Now they can do that electronically. They can just put a geofence around your car, or they can just disable your car. We're already getting cars now that this is how crazy the industry has become. BMW got into a lot of hot water with this because you can buy the car. You know how you get heated seats? Masarap yan, no?
Yeah.
Okay, there's subscription based now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they earn money from...
Yes.
Grabe.
And if you don't pay, the seats just don't turn on. Remotely. And then Volkswagen started selling a car. It has like 250 horsepower. But they'll only give you like 210 from the when it comes out of the dealership. What happened to the other 40? That's an add-on. You have to pay a subscription for that. Do you see the model now?
Yeah.
The subscription model? And this, do you watch Black Mirror?
Yeah.
Okay, this is how it always starts. This is what scares me, is because Black Mirror always shows you first the advantages of that new technology, then it flips over to the dark side. And this is sadly how it tends to go with humanity. And that's why it worries me that if you have an EV as your sole vehicle, I would not recommend that.
Yeah. Guys, ingat-ingat kayo. Hindi, honestly, ito yung reality. Right now, I'm understanding ayan, maganda yung intention. Pero if some twisted mind person would manipulate this, nako, it's just like printer. In a printer, I mean, say it's a normal printer for a computer. Technically, they're just giving the printer away. But what they're after is not a printer.
Data.
No, what they're after is the consumable, the ink that you purchased before. Remember, we don't have unlimited you just purchase once you throw the cartridge. That's where they make the money.
We can get so deep into this because I feel very strongly about what we're tapping into right now.
You won't believe what happens next. Type part 2 if you want more.
If you're one of these contractors of DPWH, that's why Senator Bam Aquino is pushing for the blockchain as part of our budget to be put on the blockchain. Because then we would see every single transaction. And that's what we need, we need transparency. I was never qualified for anything. I didn't finish high school. So when I entered the workforce, I was very insecure about the fact that I didn't have a high school diploma. Or I was how do you even tell people that? Like, how far did you go first year? Not even finished first year high school. They think you're joking, right? Especially you look like this. They're like, maniwala ka dyan. When the pandemic hit, I started going down this rabbit hole of Bitcoin, and I realized how broken money is. It is shockingly broken.